Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. I just want to say welcome back, everybody. We took a week off. We had a lot of stuff with the Movies Matrix Halloween draft that just happened last night and Saturday night for Group A and Group B. And don't forget, the Twitter polls will be out tonight on Movies Matrix account. So don't forget to go ahead and vote for who you think has the best horror draft. Obviously, Deebs. But let's get right into it. So today's episode, we are talking Train to Busan versus World War Z. Personally, this is the one I've been most looking forward to because I'm an absolute zombie fanatic. I love zombie films. And if you, just a little plug right here, if you look at my list on the horror movie drafts, I have a lot of zombie films because they're awesome. But let's just jump right into it with Train to Busan. What do we think about the story? Personally, I love this story. It redefines the zombie sub-horror genre by so many miles. And personally, I wasn't gonna watch this film. I've seen it like 5 times already. It's awesome. It used to be on Netflix. And they've done something different by putting everyone on a train going to Busan, pun intended, self-explanatory, I'd say, right? But anyway, we follow this father and daughter, and the daughter really doesn't like the father. And the only reason why they're going to Busan is to bring the daughter to the mother because she really doesn't want to be with the father. And not only is this a zombie film, but at the heart, it's a relationship between a father and a daughter that I know Deebs can personally grasp onto, and any other parent. It's a beautiful story with life-defining moments. And do we want to talk spoilers about the ending? Because I think the ending is exceptional. But you know what? Let's just talk spoilers. I think the ending is absolutely heartbreaking. The father gets bit, saving the daughter to go off with the pregnant wife. It's one of those happy, non-happy endings for me because I feel like it just needed that. And I've not seen Peninsula yet. I always have a hard time pronouncing that word, but I can't wait to watch it. So I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 for this story. What about you, Deebs?
Great stuff. Yeah, so little, quick nod. Last week, we finished our House on Haunted Hill. The rewatch. Hill House. Oh, my God. Yeah. And it was all about family. And we watched it for the first time before Eva, my daughter, my 14-month-old daughter. And then we watched it. It was great. Loved it. Then we watched it after, like a week and a half ago. We finished it. Just straight waterworks. And then we watched World War Z, which is straight up about family and fatherhood. Great flick. And then we went into Train to Busan, which, during our previous Versus series, I never even heard of it. This was a movie that, really went under the radar. And what blows my mind, because horror is my favorite genre. We had the horror movie draft. I was like taking notes the entire time. This is the best genre ever. And I completely lost it during this movie. And my first thought after finishing Train to Busan was that the best zombie movie I've ever seen? For years and years, 28 Days Later was considered my favorite zombie movie ever. And that is just how much praise I have for Train to Busan. It was mind-blowing. I just kept thinking about it the next day over and over and over again. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities in this story. Like both films feature these like super fast zombies, which we see are like quick to form into these mobs. In World War Z, we see zombies get over this massive wall by climbing over each other. And then in Train to Busan, we see multiple scenes of like piles of zombies falling over each other, joining hands, trying to stop a train. But in both films, the lead character is the father. And the core of both films is deeply rooted in family. So Brad Pitt, this guy's clearly father of the year. The first scene, we see Brad Pitt making his kids pancakes. Who doesn't love pancakes? We had like a 30-minute conversation on pancakes the other night, right? So yeah, Train to Busan features a similar central father figure that nearly wants nothing to do with his daughter. This guy can't even buy his daughter a fucking birthday present, one that he bought her last year. So fatherhood, the sacrifices parents must make for their children is really the nuts and bolts of both of these films. And they both do a really good job of making you really care for these main characters and then proceed to just do like horrible, shitty things to them the rest of the way. Another similarity is just realism. I couldn't help but think of COVID-19, especially while watching these films. We see from the beginning of World War Z that people across nations wearing face masks and struggling to slow the spread and understand the virus. But they kind of give you both glimpses of like the virus spreading across the country and across the nation. In Train to Busan, however, this is a film where you see the main father figure character really change throughout the course of the film. The moment the father's trying to like rub blood off his hands and then just completely break down while looking at himself in the mirror was really emotional for me. Both are really great, realistic, gritty stories. But I got to go with Train to Busan on this one in terms of story. It's what puts Train to Busan into that next stratosphere, though, for me, was the daughter. That daughter, father, acting, dynamic chemistry between those two was just masterclass. That last 20 minutes of the film, you touched on it, Ryan, just super effective, super emotional, completely lost it. World War Z, an 8 out of 10 and story. And I'm going Train to Busan, a 9.5.
Man, that's pretty ballsy. But I actually forgot to talk about my World War Z story. But I'm not gonna rehash everything you said, but I completely agree with you. I'm gonna go with the 7.5 for not Train to Busan, World War Z, simply because it doesn't have that father going with his family type of dynamic that Train to Busan has. I feel like the story is a little bit more straightforward instead of like the Train to Busan where he develops over time, because with World War Z, he's just trying to find a cure pretty much the entire time. And then at the end of the film, they find the cure, and there's no really arc for a character other than going from A, B, C to get those little experimental things. So I go with the 7.5. But
7.5 for World War Z?
Yeah, 7.5 for World War Z.
Got it.
So let's go on to the visuals. Now, personally, they're both gorgeous films in of themselves, because Train to Busan has a lot more, I would say, practical effects. And then we've got World War Z going with a lot of special effects. Train to Busan has more of the stuff going on in the train simply because that's how they use their effects. Personally, it's hard to really say what's a special effect because everything looks so good in this film. But I feel like World War Z has a lot of really cool visuals, like all the zombies hoarding up, going over the entire wall and then jumping onto the airplane and crashing it. The whole entire first act was visually pleasing with the whole world going into chaos. So I'm going to give the visuals for Train to Busan an 8, and then I'm going to give the visuals for World War Z an 8.5. What about you, Deebs?
All right. So obviously these are like two different kinds of films visually. You touched on it, Ryan. We've got World War Z, which is like a more big budget summer blockbuster, popcorn stuffing kind of film. And then Train to Busan is this low budget film, but for me is strikingly beautiful in so many respects, from its beautifully orchestrated fight scenes to its super memorable characters. Like the visuals in Train to Busan really make the movie's characters pop. I like how that visuals kind of aided the characters in this one. I don't think Train to Busan had that like Snowpiercer attention to detail, that level of attention to detail. But dude, it's intense. This movie, Train to Busan, really does a great job utilizing the train's environments and maximizing its effectiveness. We were talking about claustrophobic movies during the draft last night and previous nights. I thought this is up there in terms of like The Descent, Alien. There was some really, really effective moments and how Train to Busan really maximized, going from car to car and car to car. And I really enjoyed that. My personal favorite horror flick is The Descent. I love, love, love that movie. So obviously Train to Busan really clicked with me. On the other hand, you have World War Z. The visuals and scope are much, much bigger. And at times I think a little nauseating. And I think that was kind of maybe on purpose. There are a lot of scenes in World War Z where there's just like so much CGI going on at once that it almost becomes a little ridiculous. Some of the moments of the zombies like hordes are straight up a CGI shitfest. And that's where I think a little bit kind of takes me out of the realism in a sense. And that's, World War Z is supposed to be a realistic zombie movie. So I honestly enjoyed the visuals more in the opening scene of World War Z, where you see the family running away from the zombies for the first time. It's just straight up practical effects. You're not like getting all the CGI shoved down your throat. But I got to go with World War Z on this one. I'm sorry, Train to Busan on this one. I'm going to 9 for Train to Busan, and I'm going in 8.5 for World War Z. Practical effects all day, baby. What just happened?
Okay. I don't know. You just like try to put me in there. You just like disappeared. But yeah, I caught the end of that. So
all right, cool. Jesus,
yeah. So 9 for Busan, right? And 8.5 for World War Z.
Correct.
And now let's just go to the memorable moments. Personally, I will go with World War Z on this one. Train to Busan has some good moments, like the very end with him saving his daughter. Beautiful moment. But we also have the scene when they make a stop. I don't remember where it is, but it was at a train station, and the whole place is overrun by the zombies. But you don't see it until they all kind of swarm them, and that's how they kind of get rid of a lot of the survivors to really narrow it down. I thought that scene was absolutely freaking hysterical. I thought it was so scary. But another scene in the film that I thought was scary was when the father and then the other father, he's in the Eternals now. Fun fact. Were trying to make their way from the end of the train to the front of the train, and they had to sneak past the zombies when they couldn't see them or hear them, which absolutely pulsating. It was so scary, and I've never sweat so much in my life. But like I said, with World War Z, they have the whole intro scene with everyone escaping the city, really iconic. They also have the towering over the wall and then jumping onto the whole helicopter and taking that down, which was also really just a really cool spectacle, and then overrunning that city. And then I also thought the ending when he found the vaccine with the one zombie in the room without killing it was also pretty pulsating. I'm going to go with a 9.5 out of 10 for moments on World War Z, and then 9 for Train to Busan.
Right, 9.5 for World War Z, and what for Train to Busan?
9.
9. All right, memorable moments. Yeah, I think both had really a good amount of memorable moments. For World War Z, the opening scene with Brad Pitt was really my favorite scene of the film. The family's on the run during this like initial zombie invasion. It was straight up breathtaking. The other moment you touched on, it was a little anticlimactic when you see Brad Pitt just walking past all the zombies. But I love how creative the concept was. Where he injects himself, and this lethal like bacteria, makes the undead ignore him because he's essentially sick, and the zombies want to infect a healthy host. I thought that was pretty well done. Was it a little sappy? Maybe. On the other end, there are just so many memorable moments when it comes to Train to Busan. Like the father's relationship with the daughter took center stage. It was incredible. Unforgettable. My favorite moments though is that dynamic relationship though between the father and I'm gonna screw this up and I apologize in advance. Sang Hwa. It was like the other male character. It was kind of like the action hero of Train to Busan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this is a guy that went from like douchebag father to protecting the father's daughter to genuine badass. And then to like this tragic character who sacrificed himself for the love of his life. So there are a lot of memorable moments from Train to Busan, but that guy's journey, I wish I knew his name, in Train to Busan was truly the standout for me. I loved his character. It was just crazy how layered these characters are in Train to Busan. But anyway, grade, I'm going a 9.5 for memorable moments for Train to Busan and an 8 for World War Z.
Film score is next, right?
Next, we have rewatchability.
Oh, rewatchability. Okay. So I'm going to be straight with you guys. I've seen Train to Busan like 5 times, and I've seen World War Z like twice. This always just comes down to personal preference. If I'm in the mood for a good story, I'll watch Train to Busan. But if I want to watch a film, like a good zombie film during the Halloween season or just like any season that I just want to be action packed and there's always something happening, I'll watch World War Z. So due to rewatchability, I'm going to go with 9 with World War Z and just an 8.5 for Train to Busan.
All right. Train to Busan was what, an 8.5
Yeah.
and a 9 for World War Z.
Yep.
Ready. Rewatchability, yeah, this one's like a little difficult because I've seen World War Z twice. I saw it opening night, not opening night, but opening weekend in the theater, and I saw Train to Busan last week for the very first time. And I enjoyed World War Z. It was a movie that when it came out, I liked it, but it took me this long until last week to have my second viewing of World War Z. Granted, the film was a lot better than I remembered it during my second watch. But that pretty much tells you everything you need to know regarding rewatchability. On the other end, my first viewing of Train to Busan was truly powerful, man. Like I haven't been hit that hard by a horror movie in quite some time. I go back to like Dr. Sleep. I really, really enjoyed Dr. Sleep. That was the last horror film that like really got me. I just think in many respects, Train to Busan is just a much more fun film than World War Z for me personally. World War Z had a lot of effective moments. But my first thought when the credits hit, like I said, was that the greatest zombie movie I've ever seen. I didn't get that feeling in terms of World War Z. And just like I said, 28 Days Later has been my favorite zombie movie for so long. And I don't, if you had to point a gun to my head and make me choose, I'm probably just gonna, I'd rather die because I love 28 Days Later. Words can't express how much I love that film. So Train to Busan was truly moving, especially for a first-time father like myself. That the end scene with the daughter, I watched it a week ago. I can't wait to watch it again. I did not have that feeling with World War Z. I'm going 9.5 for rewatchability for Train to Busan and a 7 for World War Z.
And then we've got film score. I'm gonna be honest. Film score?
We got overall film grade.
Why did I feel like score was next for some reason? So for overall film grade, I guess. I'm sorry, it's just been a long weekend. You know exactly what I mean, Deebs.
Been drinking a lot of water.
Yeah, you keep drinking that water. And then for final film grades, this is rough. So Train to Busan, we've just been having this discussion, and I'm just thinking like, both of these films are so damn good. And personally, this is the hardest one for me to choose about what I would rank them overall. But I'm just going to go with a 9.5 for Train to Busan and a 9 for World War Z. Simply because Train to Busan is just more masterfully crafted than World War Z. World War Z was made to be that summer blockbuster. It did it well, but it's not as well crafted as Train to Busan.
Okay. All right. Got it. Film grade for me. Both are really strong flicks, in my opinion. World War Z, started here. Am I pointing right? Can you see me? Yeah, started here, and it kind of gradually declined for me. I love the start of World War Z was epic. So the ending was a little anticlimactic. It was not as effective when he sees his family for the first time in quite some time. Brad Pitt and his family in World War Z. I wasn't really hit that hard emotionally. For Train to Busan, this film went from here to here to here to here. That was like a fucking ladder. It was just epic. It just got better. So Train to Busan was just pure madness at points. And while World War Z is kind of a solid film in its own right, I found the ending a little messy. And then, Train to Busan has this like amazing emotional payoff. And what makes Train to Busan so much better than World War Z is the fact that the humans are just as scary as the zombies in this movie. We see this in the latter stages, in the, especially that third act. That human guy, what a dude! Talk about like hate the face. That guy who refused to let our main characters back onto the train car. What a douchebag, man! That guy. I just wanted to jump into that movie and strangle him because I thought the movie did a really good job. That's kind of what The Witcher does really well. I think that The Witcher makes the humans the real monsters of the series, not the actual monsters. So I kind of that was another one of my first thoughts. And I just love how Train to Busan didn't pull any punches. Having the father die at the end, he gets bit, he saves his daughter. You see this character grow leaps and bounds throughout the film, and then he shows them how to drive the train, and then he just jumps off the train as soon as he's transforming into the zombie. Like that was awesome. Like I was so expecting like, maybe there's like a chink in the chain of the zombie infection and he's saved, and it didn't do that. It did not do that. And you see the little girl walking through the tunnel singing the song that she wanted to impress the father with in the very beginning. Like just came full circle. It was just a really structurally sound, beautifully made film. Train to Busan, I'm giving it a 9.5. World War Z, an 8.8.
Man, I can't wait to see who wins this.
All right. Should we do plugs while I calculate? And
I'll do the plugs for everything. So yeah guys, remember, there's so many things to remember. I'm trying to remember which one comes first, actually. I'm going to repeat it again about the movie draft. We did the movie draft Saturday night, Sunday night. Great collab with Geekly Goods and Movies Matrix. Don't forget to vote starting tonight. I think they already went up while we were filming this episode, if I believe so. There's 3 matches. Go vote. Tell us who you think is the best horror. Obviously me. Don't tell Gibbs. Don't tell Loretto either when he comes back. But please check that out. This has been planned months in advance. Well crafted. Such a fun time. And don't forget to follow Movies Matrix. Don't forget to follow Geekly Goods and subscribe to both their channels. Don't forget to subscribe to the Suit Up TPL on YouTube. Follow them. Follow Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Just Ryan again or Bat Nipples. And then you guys can also find me on the channel that this will eventually be posted on, the Geek Fix channel. Is there anything that I forgot to plug?
I don't think so. Yeah, go vote for your favorite squad of horror movies. I've got, we are like we're like a week or 2 away from the Mandalorian season 2. I've got a top 10 Mandalorian moments article over at Movies Matrix. I've got a Mandalorian power rankings article coming out, and I've got an article on what already close to be pending on why Ahsoka Tano is the greatest Star Wars character. So I'm going full in on my girl, my queen, Ahsoka Tano. So let's look at these numbers.
Yeah, let's look at them, boy. I feel like Train to Busan won, but I still want to see how close it was. You're just in like, this motherfucker's right.
All right, how we doing? All right, let's zoom in. Here we go. Does that look better?
Yeah.
There it is. So I clearly like Train to Busan significantly more than World War Z. I'm not surprised. I think World War Z is like a solid B- B movie for me. And then Train to Busan is an absolute straight up brass knuckles zombie movie classic. What about you, man?
No, yeah. World War Z is definitely honestly, man, it's a great film, even though it just sounds like we're being Debbie Downers right now. Honestly, I love both these films, but one's more of the action summer blockbuster because it did come out June 2013. So obviously it's got Brad Pitt too, of all people. So I feel like it depends on whatever you're feeling for that day. If you're feeling for more, shut your brain off and just have a bunch of shit thrown at you. World War Z is obviously the way to go. But if you want more of a story-driven narrative, definitely go Train to Busan with more. It packs more of an emotional punch and just more story beats. But World War Z's just got more of that visual. Oh my God, all these zombies are coming. I'm gonna die. So that's just my final thoughts on both films.
Absolutely nailed it. Could not agree more.
I'm kind of stupid and I can't do the math in my head. I'm trying to do it in my head right now. So that's 87.5. And then that's 87.3. What? What? 87.3?
Do we really just like combine with the same totals there? That's hilarious. Hilarious.
Dude, that's so small. Oh my God. I really wish the other two came on tonight just to see what it'd be. But there you have it, guys. There you have it.
0.2 difference.
0.2 difference between them. That is insane. Wow. I just don't even. I think this has been our closest matchup to date
sure.
so far. And I thought that first one was pretty close. Nah. That 8.8 you gave it really fucked this one up. You really did.
My final thoughts here is what a fucking recommendation for Train to Busan. I love these verses. We were doing, I think, Mask of the Phantasm versus The Dark Knight Rises, and our guy AJ, gave me the recommendation to watch Spirited Away. That movie blew my mind. I didn't watch it. I've never heard of it. I never watched it, and we watched it like a month ago. It was great. Same thing with Train to Busan. Never heard of it. Watched it. Mind blown. It is, it is what it is. Like this concept is so fun.
I can't wait to see the sequel. I found it on a few like bootleg sites, but I want to wait till like fully releases. I want to support it. I'll spend the money to support the film. I can't wait to watch it. It definitely looks more blockbustery. But that's fine, guys. That's fine. Do you have any final thoughts, Deebs?
Whew, the character development of Train to Busan is masterclass. Go watch Train to Busan. Go watch like that. That is hands down probably one of the best Halloween recommendation movies I can ever ask for and ever recommend. Like that was a fucking great movie. Go watch Train to Busan if you're watching, and
it's on Amazon Prime.
The entire movie for you. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, definitely, guys. It's on Amazon Prime. It used to be on Netflix. Please watch it on Prime Video if you have it. Definitely worth a watch. And I mean, I say this just because I know some people don't like it, but it is a foreign language film, so you'll have to turn on subtext if you don't know the language. But dude, it's such a worthy film to do it for, just like Parasite. But yeah, without a doubt, don't forget to follow the Suit Up Geek Fix Twitter to stay up to date on what our next show will be about. Currently, we don't know what the next Versus series will be, but it will be next week as guaranteed per usual. See you guys on the next one. Peace. That's like perfectly center.